What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lone University. Today, believe it or not, I'm checking out Vulfpeck for the very first time. I have never listened to anything from their discography, aside seeing clips of Joe Dart here and there. I found out about him through his signature bass, and I'm a big fan of Cory Wong, but I've never sat down and listened to him. And you guys have recommended Vulfpeck for a while now, so I'm getting to it. Today, we're going to be checking out It Gets Funkier IV. This is from their 2018 release, Hill Climber. So let's jump in and check it out. Here we go. I have a general idea of what this band sounds like, but let's put this under the microscope. I think it's a cardinal sin I haven't really checked this band out yet. I know, I'm going to get it in the comments. Everyone's on the 16th note grid right now. E flat, going up to the 4 and A flat. G minor. Really like that nice progression change. It's so friggin' tight. I gotta close my eyes and stop watching. Yeah. Now, I've seen his signature bass. He's got that Ernie Ball, Music Man, super simplistic bass. That's what caught my eye when I first saw this. I think it was one of the first times I saw a clip of him playing, and everybody has later told me, like, you got to check out Joe Dart, man. He's just like bringing funk bass back, and I'm all for it. I started out playing funk bass, Motown. I love that this has that vintage, warm, very old school classic sound, but it's got this kind of like modern lo-fi thing going on. It's like it's got like a different lens or hue over the whole thing that just sounds more modern. And in my ears, I've got the keys, I've got like the Hammond or whatever that is. The drummer's just got a lot of dynamics, just like popcorn in the background. And everybody's like on a different note in this 16th note grid, the way it's panned. It's just going by so fast. And two guitar players doing these little tasty fills. And of course, I'm trying to zone in on Joe, but there's just so much going on. It's just really locking in. Woo! Colorful notes there. Oh yeah. It's kind of like the chorus, right? B flat, G, G, but dun dun dun. Oh yeah. I want to back it up a little bit and catch that bass part. He's really doing a lot of ad-libbed fills there. Just inserting notes anywhere, E's and U's. You know, if you broke it down in 16th notes, 1 E and a 2 E and a, he's going E, 2, ba, ba, da, da, ba, 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 da, da. I mean, this guy is locked in. My favorite challenge about funk and groove-based music is that at some point when you play something this technical, or maybe a song gets to a technical groovy breakdown, you got to pull yourself out of the melodic clouds and you got to locate yourself with GPS on the map of the song and know right where you are. There's no guessing in this funk music. There's no guessing with funky grooves. And teaching students a lot of the time, they're trying to play something faster, more technical, or more rhythmic, and they kind of just fudge it to get to the one quick, or they get to the one a little late because they don't know where they're at. Doing a bass fill or a little technical unison, that stuff is hard to master. And one of the biggest lessons I learned from a bass player I look up to, Victor Wooten, seeing a clinic of his one time, he said, "Never, ever, ever, ever abandon the rhythm to find the right note." Wrong notes are very subjective. Technically, depending on which jazz musician you ask, there really is no wrong note, but there are definitely wrong rhythms. Wrong notes are very subjective. Wrong rhythms are always objective. If you're off, or you come in late, or you miss the one, there's no going that might have been right. And wrong rhythm is very frowned upon, especially when you're playing with musicians like this that are all just on that same wavelength. So it's important to always be thinking about what count you're on, how you're fitting in the framework of the groove, and I just love this. So I'm going to go back and kind of get that little chorus section here. Love that tasty stuff. Just got that really thuddy, warm, very compressed tone. We'll get to that in a little bit here. I want to talk about how I would get a tone like that. This key guy is wigging out. Oh, 3 key guys. I'm sorry. Wow. Again, one of the most important things you can do is understand what the drummer is doing exactly, not just bobbing your head like the drummer's a metronome. You know, as musicians, we're told a lot, think like a drummer, or at least bass players are, think like a drummer, but it needs to go further than just hearing the drummer and bobbing your head on the downbeats. Understand the articulations of what the drummer's doing. I said this in the Red Hot Chili Peppers analysis I did a while back. You know, Flea is so good about matching the actual accents of Chad Smith's playing. If he's hitting a tom roll or he's bootletting a tom or a big snare hit, has a little bit more decay on it, he's kind of matching that on his bass parts. If he's on a splash cymbal with a really short choke decay, he's making the bass part follow that. The ride cymbals, a little bit more decays, more elongated notes. This stuff is important to really think and understand how the drummer's playing. Then you can extrapolate that, the entire timbre of it, onto a bass line. And that's how you achieve, in my mind, ultimate pocket and ultimate synchronicity. Where are we going with this? Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. I love how Joe Dart inserted that phrase and the drummer matched it. That's really great chemistry there. That was just a flurry of funky bass licks. A lot of little classic stuff in there. Kind of swinging the little chromatic thing he did there. Lots of tasty stuff. Really, really nice stuff. I'm going to go back and catch when that starts. Tasty. And I love his tone. Right here. Follows along. I love it. Something else I want to point out real quick that is so underrated, playing music in general, but especially this type of music. I want you to watch Joe's body. When you put your body in rhythm, you can suddenly play in rhythm a lot better. It's very much like, how do I describe it? You're internalizing the rhythm. You've heard this a million times if you're a musician learning at any point in your life. Internalize the rhythm, but don't just think about it. You got to kind of feel it. And once you kind of get your body moving, whether it's as simple as tapping your foot or it's doing an entire body just bobbing, you will always be more in the pocket. Objectively, you're internalizing the pulse and you're just feeling the music. Not to get too artsy-fartsy here, but I'm telling you this stuff is important. And, you know, even if it's just tapping your foot, you got to internalize the rhythm. You have to know where you're at. You have to have a framework and a home base somewhere in your body to stay in tune with everything. Watch his body here. Well, I guess he's soloing now. Watch it when it comes back in. He's really catching those inner beats on the 16th notes. Again, everybody's on this pocket of 16th note grid. Just a wavelength. They're all on it perfectly. Everybody's playing staccato. That's playing it backwards. How long has he been doing that? I haven't been paying attention. I've been so on that bass line. Woo! You know what I find? He's kind of opening up with some longer bass notes. There's the hi-hat starts to open up with the kind of the catch on the upbeats. I find it really cool. This is kind of part of what I was saying. Match the drummer's articulation. It pulls the listener's ear and just goes, wow, these guys are in the pocket. That's exactly what's going on here. There's so many notes going by so fast. So I know I'm just kind of doing some broad stroke catches when I hear it. But, when the drummer's really locked in with that tight closed hat, really light snare drum, everybody from Cory to this other guitar player, everybody's matching that articulation. That's why it just sounds like perfection. I want to talk about his tone real quick. This is such a great classic tone. It just kind of has like a modern, more hi-fi punch to it. What I'm really hearing at play here is a lot of compression on the bass. That helps to make those notes really even and almost sound like they're like synth-like. That's what gives it that character. A compressor is an automatic volume knob. It makes the loud notes a little quieter, and if you turn the volume up and put a lot of gain into the compressor, that means just putting your input gain on the front end of the compressor. You're making it louder, so you're really putting a lot of signal in the compressor, and then you're squashing the peaks. Everything's going to sound very even, and that's how you get this synth-like tone. It adds some warmth, it adds some sustain, and I used to be kind of a purist with a compressor. I used to think, oh, it's like cheating. My technique should be able to make the notes even. Yes, it should, but you have to remember, as a bass player, bass notes, the lower range, you're competing against physics at all times. You're competing against speakers that most of them can't handle bass very well unless you have a really nice sub or really nice amp. Lots of factors work against us bass players getting notes to cut through. So anything you can use to help is certainly important and certainly very smart. Sounds like he's pulling back a little bit of the highs. It's a little bit more of a low mid kind of warm thing. So I would pull my treble down. I would probably cut a little bit of these high mids, boost the bass. And, a big part of that tone is, again, that Music Man pickup kind of being more oriented to the bridge. I'm sorry, that way. I have a little drive on this tone, so it's a little more sizzly than what he's got, but that his technique is a huge part of it too, just even plucks and having just a great usage of ghost notes, mixing them, left-hand muting. And that's why his playing is so burpy and tight, and again, matching that drummer's articulation. Ultimate pocket. Kind of has that rubbery character too. Gonna leave me on that dominant 7? Come on, somebody resolve it. That was a ton of fun. That really uplifted my mood. Not that it was bad today, but I had an idea of what Vulfpeck would sound like, but it's kind of good to see him all in one place playing. Again, I've seen a lot of the various members individually playing on clips and Instagram and TikTok. Cory Wong, I follow him mostly, but that's kind of the thing nowadays. Back in the 80s, when a band came out, it's like you heard about the band and it was just the unit of the band. You didn't have Instagram to see, one specific member you follow and see all his clips before you even check out his music. It's kind of backwards these days. So a lot of times I'm finding out about these bands after I'm very familiar with their players. So I would love to go back and check out the rest of their discography. It sounds fun, it sounds jovial, it sounds upbeat, and that does not discredit the unreal musicianship going on. To be that in sync, these guys are all just the best there is. Funk music means a lot to me. It's what I started on. It's what really drew me into bass to begin with. And I'm very, very thankful for the high school jazz band director I had, who would constantly challenge us. I was playing bass 6 months, maybe a year, and he found a high school kind of watered down arrangement of What Is Hip by Tower of Power. And I don't think the bass part was really watered down. I think the horn parts were, because they were just super high. Tower of Power's got the screeching horn notes, but I think the bass part was how it is on the record. So he put this music in front of me and said, "We're going to come back in a week, and try to take a stab at what is hip. And I'm like, so much black ink on the page. And I remember taking it home and listening to that song and not really understanding how to read a lot of these complicated rhythms. I just kept, going back, skipping on the CD back when we had CDs, just skipping back 15 seconds and just watching the same rhythm go by on the page and going, oh, okay, that's what a, 16th, 8th, 16th like sounds like coming in on the upbeat over the bar line and all those little crazy rhythms. And the point I'm making here is that it's very important to visualize rhythms, understand what they look like. It's very important. If you don't ever want to learn to read music, if you just read tablature, that's better than nothing. But if you want to learn to read music, I'm going to make a plug for the first time ever here on my channel. I have a sight reading 101 book that teaches you how to read music and basic rhythms and notes. You can get that at my online store. The link is in the description. But if you're wanting to play music like this, being able to see it in your head as you play it and visualize the rhythms is paramount. Not saying it can't be done with if you can't, but it certainly puts you in the fast track to be able to do it. Thank you guys for recommending Vulfpeck. I got a few recommendations for this song specifically, going back through the comments. This is fun. I got to check out more. Please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment on what else I should do, and please make sure you're subscribed. Cheers. Until next time.